The Witch in the Wood by T.H. White, Chapter 10. Whatever the villagers may have thought of her, when she was alone, the Magic Queen was too much of an optimist to bear malice in company. When she was defeated, she knew by spells how to cover the defeat with a kind of deposit from her imagination, as the oyster does with the grit. Like one of those toys which you cannot knock over because they are weighted at the bottom, she was quickly back on her feet again and ready for another prey. King Pellinore, she decided, when she had come back from her walk with him on the cliffs, was queer. He was a dear, but queer. She forgave him. The effect of her amorous failure with the king, however, was that she became ethereal. She suffered one of her magic changes into another person. The witch now began dressing in mysterious flowing robes and talking through her nose about the astral bodies. "Look here, Queen Morgause," said Sir Grummore. "We think we ought to have a unicorn hunt." "Certainly, Grummore. I will consult the stars." "It's about Pellinore. He's been moping lately, and we think that if we could get him interested in a unicorn hunt, it would do him good." "You are psychic, Sir Grummore." "Beg pardon?" "You see the roots of things."
"Oh, I see. Yes, well, if we could arrange a unicorn hunt."
"A healer."
"What?"
"You stretch out your fingers to heal King Pellinore's inmost soul."
"Well, you could put it like that."
"I do put it like that. I am a healer, too."
"Oh, are you?" said Sir Grummore, interested. "What do you heal?"
"People," said the Queen mysteriously.
"Uncommon faculty. Now, if we could arrange about a unicorn hunt."
"Health and beauty," said the Queen.
"Excuse me."
"Love will find a way."
"I don't quite follow."
"You cannot go against the stars."
"No, I see that. Well, what we shall need for this unicorn hunting is a virgin for bait."
"Oh."
"You have to have a virgin, and then the unicorn comes up and lays its head in her lap, and then you spear it."
Excuse me. "I see."
"So, can you find us a virgin?"
"I shall be the virgin," said the Queen decidedly.
"Oh."
"But I say, look here, dash it all what," said King Pellinore. "I don't want to catch a unicorn. What can I do with a unicorn?"
"It would be interesting to catch."
"And anyway, it says you have to have a virgin."
"I know."
"How many children has this woman had?"
"4, I think."
"Well, hang it, Grummore, I may be a bit on the dull side, but I was always given to understand."
The Queen took up the unicorn hunt with enthusiasm.
"I am just a virgin at heart," she explained to Sir Grummore.
The best thing, she thought, would be to wear some simple green dress, very plainly cut, and to have a little crown of flowers on her head, daisies, meadowsweet, something definitely rustic anyway, not orchids or anything like that, unless of course she used the common wood orchids, whose roots all witches know to be an aphrodisiac. But no, on the whole, it would be best to have no suggestion of Venus about a virgin. And then she would sit on some decorative wood stump somewhere, a fallen tree trunk perhaps, wreathed in some sort of vine or ivy, a bower, yes, that was the word, and she would hold her hands in her lap. The eyes would be cast down, of course. There would have to be a knight-errant beside her, Sir Grummore, naturally. Yes, they would wait for the unicorn together while the others lay in ambush a good distance away, and would have a little chat.
"But Palomides," complained the king as they sat together in an uncomfortable gorse bush.
The Queen's bower had to be carried up the mountain by 6 sweating villagers, as there were no fallen trees in that bare countryside, and the only suitable place for the ambush had been this clump of gorse.
Palomides, do you think this is too much? Much good?"
"If at first," said the Saracen uncomfortably, "succeedings are failed in, persons must just try again."
"But what I mean to say is, it did say a maiden, didn't it? Don't you know what?"
"Puella virga, what were the actual words?"
That's just what I'm getting at. That's just what I'm getting at. I mean, can you be a... You know what? If you have 4 sons,
I don't know, and besides, physiologist says she ought to be put there alone. Then what's the good of having Sir Grummore with her? Well, yours truly is somewhat at a loss, of course. It is the Queen's forest. I know, but what's the good? It's difficult, admitted Sir Palomides. It's extremely muddling, said the king decidedly. The queen had arranged that Sir Grummore should be dressed as the spirit of the wood. He stood beside her with some vine leaves woven far too jauntily in his hair, and a panther skin thrown over his shoulder. He had insisted on keeping his armor on underneath, and felt hot. He was carrying a shepherd's crook in one hand and some spare cushions in the other, in case the queen needed them. Do you, said the queen, beginning to chat in her mystic way, believe in reincarnation? No, said Sir Grummore. It is a wonderful subject. There was a pause here for Queen Morgause to stare before her into the past with dreary eyes. Bit hot, isn't it? Inquired Sir Grummore. Wonderful, repeated the queen. Well, well, every man to his taste. Personally, I like it cooler. And so mysterious. Yes, it is mysterious, I suppose. The queen turned her dreamy eyes upon him with a languorous flash. Ah, Grummore, Grummore, she said, you understand. Well, it's probably to do with the weather, you know. Not mysterious, really. Don't take much understanding. Humidity and all that. That's what makes it hot or cold, so a fellow was telling me. Humidity, cried the queen. The virtue of the seer. Humidity. Yes, humidity. Now, you, Sir Grummore, you are humble too. Beg your pardon. I can see it in your eyes, Sir Grummore. You cannot hide it from me. I can see the humble, the saintly spirit. It peeps out from the windows of the soul. Like a little flower, added the queen before Sir Grummore could catch his breath. Oh, thanks, said Sir Grummore, blowing his red nose. Ah, nothing is hidden from me. These eyes. Here the queen touched her eyes dramatically with the tips of her fingers. These eyes were made to stare into the roots of things and not to flinch. Dear me. Yes, Sir Grummore. And do you know what they see? Sir Grummore examined them closely. What do they see? They see you in a previous incarnation. No, really? And what do you think they see? Something interesting, no doubt. A little forget-me-not, Sir Grummore. A little forget-me-not. God bless my soul. I say, Palomides, could we pass the time writing a poem, what? I ought to get a poem done for this evening's courier. For the Queen of Flanders' daughter? That's the very girl. I say, you are a knowing chap. How did you guess it? Honourable Sir Grummore has confided in yours truly. Discussions were made about its use of rhyming dictionary. Useful thing to have, that, said the king wistfully. It is an assistance, conceded the Paynim. It's the rhyming, said the king. That's what does you every time. Now, whatever can you rhyme with Flanders? Difficult, one observes. Goosey ganders? Too secular. Is it secular, isn't it? It is secular, isn't it, what? That's what I thought myself when I was making it up. You couldn't say, said the king, continuing after deep thought, you couldn't say, Dear daughter of the Queen of Flanders, I wonder where your goosey wanders. Is that distinguished young lady in possession of many goosies? Not a single one. That's what makes it so difficult. Interesting hobby, horticulture, Sir Grummore was observing. So I should imagine. Horticulture? Those forget-me-nots and carnations. Carnations? You were talking about them, you remember. Chambers was the other word, said the king. But it doesn't seem quite the right tone. No, Sir Grummore. I was meaning that you were the flower, a forget-me-not in a previous incarnation. Me, a flower? Just a little tender bloom. Oh, don't you believe in incarnation? Well, I don't understand much about it, Queen Morgause. I believe, said the queen in capital letters, locking her hands together between her knees and staring straight before her, believing. Yes, said Sir Grummore, I see you do. After a bit he added, Do you think we shall see a unicorn soon? You believe too? Well, I'm not sure, said Sir Grummore. You see, said in the book that the bait should be left alone, and there were other conditions about her, too.
And do you know what I was?
Asked the queen. It said you had to be a virgin.
I was a little bird.
No? Said Sir Grumore, considerably astonished.
Oh, yes, I was. I was a little dicky bird, and I hopped down beside this flower and gave it a peck. Just a gentle peck, you understand. More like a kiss, added the queen confidently.
Oh, and what did the flower do?
It bloomed.
Oh.
What do you make of that, Sir Grumore?
Can't make out what I think of it myself. When was all this supposed to have happened?
In a previous incarnation.
Oh, I see. This carnation job again. But I thought we was talking about unicorns.
Ganders, wanders, chambers, glanders, banders, interjected Sir Palomides hopefully. Are her legs straight? There's no such word. Candles? Oh, I say, look here, Palomides. You aren't helping a bit. It doesn't even rhyme. You are a unicorn, Sir Grumore, cried the queen in desperation. You are a unicorn, and I am a maiden.
No, said Sir Grumore. You're muddling all this up. I'm Sir Grumore. You're Queen Morgause, and we're waiting for a unicorn.
Don't think about it.
Don't think about it, he added kindly, if it makes your head ache or anything like that.
Your soul to the devil! Exclaimed the witch in a shrill voice, relapsing into Gaelic. She tore off her crown of daisies, trampled them on the ground, and swept out of the bower.
This Queen Morgause,
said Sir Grumore in a puzzled voice, as he rejoined his friends in the gorse bush.
I'm afraid she must have got a touch of the sun. She was raving about carnations, and she took me for a rhinoceros.
The poets paid him no attention.
Meanders is a poetic word, said Sir Palomides. Dear Queen of Flanders, where do you meanders?
But it isn't grammar, cried King Pellinore passionately. Oh, you old idiot, it isn't even grammar. And the lovelorn monarch burst into tears. And that's the end of chapter 10.